Good evening, everybody. Om Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Good evening to all of you who have joined us today for this joyful celebration in the finale event of Mandala Festival 2021. I am Anvita and I have been with the Mandala Festival for 3 years now, and the journey so far has been exciting, learning, and it means togetherness to me. I am so excited to be hosting this event today. Mandala Festival started in 2015 as a WhatsApp group, and ever since it has been a continuous expansion of people from different cities, states, countries, and now from a day's event, it has become a month-long event, which started in the month of August and goes on till the end of our expedition in October. To start off today's evening on a beautiful musical note, we have Harshvardhan with us. Harsh is an explorer, wanderer, seeker, and a student. He got connected to Mandalas last year and ever since has been journeying through the multiple dimensions held within and without. Welcome, Harsh. Over to you.
Thank you, Anvi. I would like to start with this is a bhajan that I heard from Shri M, and thanks to Shri M and Prasad for introducing this to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Harsh, for such a divine beginning. If the audience have any appreciation for the performers, please put it on chat. It will be read out to the performers. And I request you all to stay on video to encourage the performers. Beautiful, grounding, and calming Harsh from Kizzy.
Thank you.
Beautiful and divine voice Harsh, that's from me.
Thank you.
Wonderful Harsh, beautiful rhythm from Prasad.
Thank you.
Divine from Nikita.
Thank you, Nikita.
Lovely, calming, and inspiring Harsh from Rohit.
Thank you, Rohit.
Amazing provoke for the evening from Dharmi.
Thank you, Dharmi.
The Google Home isn't set up yet. To get started,
Thank you for this calm beginning from Priyavrat. Harsh, what a beautiful rendition. Listening to your voice singing was so calming. Love listening to it. Wonderful start today from Divya. Thank you, Harsh, for starting the evening with this very calming and from the heart song. It brought some pause inside from Bhagyashree. Lovely Harsh, something melted inside from Shubh. Love the soothing start to this program from Aditya. Thanks for a soulful and soothing start for the evening, Sudarshan. Thank you, everybody. For those of you who joined in now, thank you for joining. And thank you, Harsh, for such a soothing performance right in the beginning of the final online event of Mandala Festival 2021. Thank you so much. Next, we have with us somebody who is going to talk about the beauty of the instrument body. We have Priyavrat Panigrahi. Welcome, Priyavrat. Priyavrat Panigrahi is a performer, choreographer based in Bangalore. He has completed his dance studies in Bangalore and Brussels. He is part of a dance collective called Citizens of Stage Collab, which is based out of Bangalore as well. He is a certified FRC mobility specialist and a Thai massage practitioner. He also follows spiritual practices and incorporates that into his life, shamaning and qigong. He says, any kind of principle that we follow through this body is a mandala by itself. A mandala is a spiritual depiction depicting the universe. This body is a very symbol of this universe. There is no separation and it's very much interconnected. He connects with mandalas as he does his daily practice, connecting with his breath, connecting with the elements, practicing movement, qigong, or his FRC mobility practice. He connects to his universal body through this path. Most of you here have heard Priyavrat talk in one of our previous events. Today, we're waiting to listen to you talk about how body is and how body acts as an instrument and what is the beauty behind it. All yours, Priya.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to me, and thank you everyone for coming here and coming together. Very grateful for this chance. Very grateful for this togetherness. Um, I have prepared myself to share something of my life that I have been part of and experienced. And I'm gonna share some of the words of mine here with you all. So as already Anvita has explained and kind of shared a little bit about me, that what I have done in my life, very briefly, I would like to say the little bit similar things when I start. So I come from a place, it's called Odisha in Bhubaneswar. I come from Bhubaneswar, which is in Odisha, and I live with my mom and dad and my sister. I used to. So when I was 19, I got into this, introducing into the dance, and my mom put me in some dance classes, and I really didn't want to dance and not to do anything, something like this in my life. And before that, I used to kind of follow all this kind of society, what they want to do. Your friends study this, then you study also the same thing. Or your cousin, brother, older one, they have studied something else, and you have to follow the same pathway. It becomes something that they have become already. And while I was doing all this, there is one aspect that I have not told right now here, that I used to play tabla. Because my mom is a singer, and I used to play tabla for like almost 10, 12 years constantly when I was child, kind of growing up my lifetime. And then when this dance introduced to me, my mom put me in dance class, I kind of took it very, very seriously. And I don't know why I took it seriously. I just took it. It just happened. Something inner calling happened. You listen to yourself, that you can actually stand on that rock and you can feel that rock is very, very stable. And you can actually leap off as high as possible, because you know the rock underneath your foot is very stable. It will give you that, that energy, that strength to do that, whatever you're willing to do it. So I'm lucky enough, I'm grateful enough to keep dancing so far till the date. It's been already 10 years. And I never thought about having a life, having a kind of professional life in this line. And then when I took this dance career, my mom and dad were very, very kind of afraid of things, that what I'm going to do actually. And so on some point, my mom was quite giving me the support from her side. I mean, she told me, if you want to do it, then do it properly. So I just went out of Odisha. So then the whole journey began from there for me. So I come to Bangalore. I studied in dance for 2 years in Atakalari, one of the institute here in Bangalore. And then I continued study further ahead with the dance. I went to Belgium. I studied there for 2 years. And I come back, after, in 2016, I'm talking about from 2016 onwards till 2019, I worked as a freelance artist in India, in Bangalore, and working with multiple choreographers from internationally, nationally, performing in India, performing out of India. And so on, the career goes on, you become very attentive about your work. What do you do? Because you are a dancer, you just called yourself in this world, that is your signature, that people get to know you by you doing that thing, that you become your profession. And you think that you know quite a lot of stuff. You think you know everything now. And because the way the world is, the surrounds you also, that so many things happen, sometimes you actually forget to look things differently. You start looking things still. You start looking things quite similarly by the surrounding, because you need to do certain things, because you are a dancer now. You need to do this. And you try to do and match up those barrier by jumping higher and touch it. And then again, jump more higher, then touch the next one. Till the society again tells you, okay, you have not come enough. You have to go more higher. You have to push yourself. So why I'm saying all this thing, because of course, a little bit about myself, also because the topic is the beauty of the body. This is, so far today, we all have come here with the body. Nobody has left the body somewhere else and come here and sitting down. So we all have come here with the body. So my question began to myself when I started teaching people. So when I get into the class, I start teaching people. I used to teach many classes. I used to teach, I used to perform. Those two aspects of my life was quite high. And then there's a time comes, I asked myself when I was teaching, then I'm like, why am I teaching, first of all? How am I teaching? If I'm teaching something, then am I so into something that I would like to give it to people that what I'm doing, you should be doing the same thing. So you should learn from me exactly the same what I'm doing. What I'm missing there, that I am a different person than someone else who comes to me. Every individual entity, I have to see them that every individual person is an individual person. They have certain interest in something, you can guide them. And then I ask myself, do I know how to guide them? Of course, I know as a dancer how to dance, how to use my body. But that moment, it just put me in a question and say that, actually, I do not know anything. It literally made me feel like that I do not know anything about the body. I just know how to dance. If somebody will tell me slide, I can slide. If somebody will tell me jump higher, I will jump higher. Somebody will tell me turn, I will turn. But when it comes to talking about the body, I do not know anything about the body. I just know how to use my body. But what to talk about body and how can I guide someone, that principle I didn't have. I don't even know how to start with those things. And when I realized that, I'm actually lacking with it. And I suddenly realized I need to go back to the basic of it. I need to step back so much now. I have to step back so much now and start from the place that a question arises that, do I know how to breathe, first of all? What is movement? What does this body does? Where does the movement come from? What is the language of a movement? Can we see movement? Does movement only happens through human body, or the movement exists in this earth by itself the moment the creation has been done? There are many ways to look at movement, there are many languages to it. It depends on us, how do we see it? And through that, when I come to the point of asking myself question, does my body knows how to breathe? Yes, I'm breathing constantly throughout, so everyone. But does everyone knows how to breathe? To myself, I didn't know how to breathe. I know certain way. There are many variety of way of breathing. Do I know how to sit? I do not know how to sit. Do I know how to stand? Just stand on my both foot. I don't know how to stand on my both foot. But what do? I jump, I fly, I slide, I do many crazy things without knowing the basic of these things. So when that arrived to me, I'm like, wow, like what a distinct between these things. I felt that I'm in the middle of the pond without knowing how my body entered to the pond completely and I reached till the water completely over my head. I do not know the taste of that, the beginning process of it. I suddenly found myself, I'm in the middle of the water, standing, knowing every single thing at the same time, not knowing anything. That's the number one point which comes to me. Secondly, I would like to add things that similarly, when I was teaching class, I saw many people come to dance classes. They look at you and they get so fascinated, like, wow, such amazing thing. Can I do that? Because that's kind of a climax you see. Like, okay, something very fantastic happening and you want to do it no matter what. But whatever you are seeing it, that is the final product of it. But how to reach that, there's a process to it. So if I'm doing something today with my body, I have gone through the process, so I'm able to do this. So when somebody says this and they want to do that, I saw so many students comes to class and they fall injured. They come for a class, they sign up for a month. After second or third class, they don't come. They step back. Out of a 20, 5 people will maximum will come into your class, those will sustain. And other 15 people, they will not come for your class. I just started kind of raising a question in my head, thinking about what is wrong with things that we are not able to continue with these people. It's understanding that I just felt that we are looking things from a dancer perspective. So I just realized we need to see things from a human perspective, not a dancer perspective. First of all, I'm a human being. I'm born as a human. So-called everybody, whoever sitting right now with us, everybody is human. Nobody can say that we are not a human being. We all walk in both legs in this planet. Then I become a dancer. I don't know how. And then I started reflecting back that story to my life saying, oh no, I'm actually a human being who became a dancer. So I should look back so I can go more deeper by knowing what this human body does. Because the moment I call myself I'm a dancer, the possibility is very limited. Because it is written in the book, the dancers should do this, 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 this. But a human being can do millions of things that are no boundaries. So when I see people come to class and they fall injured and they leave the class and they do not continue, because I know that is the result of it. Once you do not get what you want, we back out very easily. That's a human tendency also. So then I realized, okay, let me create a class where I can actually focus on not thinking of a dancing, but let's focus on the body that we have already. Because right now in the audience, there are 24 people. If everybody comes to me right now, I will not treat everyone in the same way. Everybody will be in a different level, a different scale as a human being, depending on what you are doing in your lifestyle, depending on what you eat, depending on what you do. And from there, the work starts. So if we can take care of the basic thing of it, whatever you're trying to achieve is become the byproduct of that. So if you do the basic necessary thing of my body well, then my body just flourish into the other thing much nicer way, in a much depth it find it. Because the basic of my body has been figured out. I know what to do with my body. What does this body needs to do? So while I'm looking for this class and figuring out how do I do this? How do I do this? Because before I facilitate anything, first of all, I need to do this with myself. This body has to go through every question that I'm asking. This body has to go through that. If I have not gone through that, then I cannot experience it. Then I can't explain to people who comes to me. If I can't explain to people, then what is the point of doing this? Me wanting to do, it's all in my head, but then it has to dilute down into my body to understand what can I do with it. Cutting down the story a little short, and introduce to the technique called FRC. So the FRC stands for Functional Range Conditioning. So this technique comes from a person called Andrea Spina. So he's from Canada. So he invented this technique by looking at many other technique, many other research. He pulled out in a very amazing way what are the necessary things, what do we really need to do, and then he put them in a line, and then he make a structure. Okay, this is the way we're gonna look at things and see what does that make difference to the human body. And when I did that technique, it just not blow my mind. It just kind of made me realize the immense possibility of a human body. You cannot ever question about that. The body is capable of so many things, you have no idea. The amount of doors the body can create and open up for you till you die, you have no idea. So when I was doing this, the question which came and arises for me that are we working with our body? One thing is very clear, the body works for us. So that we're all here sitting. Because the body is working for us. If the body would have said today, no, I'm not going to come with you, do you think the body would have stayed in a different room and stayed there and you come here like a shadow and sit here? Of course not. The body has come with you. So you're sitting here, we can see each other. So the body is working for us. The question is, are we working with that body side by side? Are we giving to the body what the body needs? If we give the basic necessity of what the body needs, the body will become, the body will actually, the possibility it will open up for you that we have no idea of, or we have never tasted those possibilities. How do they feel in their life? It is an energy body. I always believe it, and of course, everyone knows it. So what happened when we born in this world right now? We got this body. In spite of you ask for it or you do not ask for it, if you're born as a human being, you got this body. So I believe that as a human being, we always neglect what we got very easily. So we always neglect this one. I give a small example of it. Now, I got this energy body, and now every single one, every single human being, the moment they're born in this earth and they continue till they die, there's a certain period of a time. And in this certain period of a time, you set your goals and boundaries throughout. You put small projects. You put one project, you do the work for that, and you do the set another goal. You kind of finish that goal. Then you go to the next goal and the next goal, and there are the millions of goals are there in your life till you die. And what do you think happens? Like when you're going to goals, this is a earth body also. We ask for a loan to this body. When I step into something like right now, if I'm doing this work, this is a journey, this is the goal right now for me, till I sit here for 3 hours or 2 hours. So this amount of a time, I ask my body, hey, can you give me this much energy so that I can actually invest my energy in this place? And once I'm done, I can be relaxed. And then I set myself for the next goal. And then I ask my body, can you again give me some amount of energy again? And again, I invest that energy for that goal. So till we leave the 7 years age or 8 years, we have many goals. So what the problem I find, that we go, no matter whatever you do, the body willing to do or not willing to do, you will somehow drag this body to every single place of it. That is not a question. You can do that. But the body, when I question back to you saying, are you doing something with that? It's like this body is like a battery. I need to know where to plug it. I need to be fully charged. So tomorrow morning, when some other project comes up, I will have the energy to give. And that, how do you charge yourself? By charging yourself, I mean that this is a scientific body. This is a big machine which you are sitting inside. We need to know how does this body function. Coming to function, it comes to the movement. The body needs movement. That's the protein the body gets. We need to give protein to the body so the body knows, okay, I'm good and solid now. Next day, I'll give you this. If my body is not in a place, my body will just kind of tear apart by slowly going back down. And when that happens, that's where all this, not only physical problems, emotional problem also comes up. I have this injury, I have that injury, but we have no idea where do they come from because we have never worked with the body. We always work. The body always works for us. We never work with the body. So the time is very important. What am I doing with this body? So the technique, what happened in this technique of FRC is kind of one of the, I was saying, it's kind of a functional range conditioning, and which starts with a very basic routine of the daily ritual, which starts with the CARS, CARS. So CARS stands for controlled articular rotation. So when I say controlled articular rotation, basically what it does to the body, so that you basically asking a question to yourself, are you doing exercises according to the way the human body is designed? Am I doing what is this body designed for? If I'm not doing what is this body designed for, I'm only doing what is necessary, what makes me feel good. And then what happened? I get very much into that. And then I do not do what my body needs. And I come to a wall, I hit into the wall and realize, oh, till now I have been neglecting this. So I need to start working towards my body. So what happened in this exercise, we work with the individual joints of the body. So I work with my neck, we all have that. Neck, shoulder, elbows, wrist, fingers, hips, knees, ankle, toe, And then we have the other organs in our CAR, the control articular fusion, the term stands for. What it does, that it kind of gives you a map of how much workspace do you have, how much mobility do you have, what range do you have. So it kind of gives you understanding that what does your body right now. Maybe I'll be able to do this much with my shoulder, and someone else in this audience may not be able to do that much with their shoulder. That's where the question starts. Okay, I see you, that's where you are. What can I do? What can we do to get more beyond it and find the workspace? So that's how the exercise helps in a daily ritual. It's definitely far beyond that. So what happened in this technique I love the most, I would like to bring it one topic of it, that whenever we go to any exercises, anything, what happened always that the goal becomes the exercise. The goal is never the body. I go to a gym, I see somebody taking lifting up something 50 kg. The goal becomes, I'm gonna lift the 50 kg. No, the idea is that good for my system? Is that good for my body? Because we become the goal oriented, that I should be doing the handstand, I should be doing the 100 push-ups. So the push-ups that the name has been invented, if somebody comes from other planet, if you tell them push-ups, they don't understand who is push-ups. The push-up doesn't live here. It's live in our head because we got to know that this is what push-ups looks like. The guy push-ups is not here at all. So what happened that we become the goal oriented and we work towards the exercise basis. Okay, I got this exercise, and have you seen how people get so excited and so happy? The moment they get the 10 push-ups, they're like, oh my God, I got my 10 push-ups. They must be having amazing pain in their wrist, on the shoulder, breathing issues, don't know how to do it. But I got my 10 push-ups means I'm so happy, because the goal becomes the push-ups, not the body. Because while I'm running behind the 10 push-ups, I have no idea how I'm breaking this body down. So what happened in FRC system, in this technique, or in this beauty of the body we're talking about, what happened, you give the importance to the body, not to the exercise. So when somebody walks in, the human is important. Who walks into your pathway is that person is important. And exercise is just a tool which come and help that human body and live. The human doesn't come in to get the exercise. The human comes in and walks in as the person is. The tools are available here, me to choose or whoever to choose. Okay, let me put this one on here. Is it helping for your body? Yes. Okay, that's all it is matter. As simple it is. So, as that joint of that person's body moves very well, the person gonna get more happier and start doing many other 100,000 kind of a movement with having any no issue. Without saying, oh God, I got that exercise, let me get that exercise more and more and more and more and more. No, maybe you don't have to get that exercise more and more and more. There are many other things to get it. The question lands that, is your body functioning in a much better way? If you're all that you have given, if it is functioning in a much better way, then automatically your nervous system will take care of things. You don't have to think too much. The basic need is you do the basic stuff, but in a very ritualistic manner. You do it every day. You do it every day. Let's take the ritualistic manner of what we do. We wake up in the morning, we do our brushing our teeth, we go to the loo, we take shower, we take breakfast, and we go out of the work. That's a ritual, that's a work. Imagine you're not going to do that thing for 1 week. What do you think will happen? Things will fall apart a bit for you. Once you do the ritual in a much easier way, and just follow the ritual, the byproduct of doing things better, automatically they just pulled in. I have to take care of the basic thing of it. How strong is my basic is. So that is what I realized when I was dancing. This I realized happened. We trained as a dancer. Is everybody dancer here? Absolutely not. Everybody need to be danced? Absolutely not. But does everybody as a human being, they need to move pain-free? Absolutely yes. Does everybody need to move pain-free in this planet? Yes, absolutely yes. They need to know what are they doing with their system. But when we study in a dance school, they teach us, learn dancing. So I become a dancer to learn this. Like, who told me to do that? No one. Why am I doing this? Because I wanted to do this. And now I'm stepping back and seeing it. Is that enough for me? Does it give me a depth to my body? Absolutely not. It is good. But the moment I step back and start to listen to my body and study my body, it gives me much more space to invite this dance that I already know. It doesn't mean that I forget about it. It doesn't mean that you also forget about what you do. So when the human body is in a much better state, the what else things you do in your life is just functions much better. You're mentally in a good space, you're physically in a good space. Those two things are in the right balance and kind of work with each other. Other things just fall into place in a much beautiful way. So talking about the topic, I'm going to get into a little bit more different side of this topic. So when you talk about this movement, when you talk about this body, also what happens in this society that we live, or maybe the universe that we live, we need to literally see things that, where do we come from? We come from a place of a gathering and hunting, gatherer and hunter. So decades back, many years back, people used to gather things. They hunt and they gather and they eat and they live their life. So that went for a very much of a time. So you sprint, you run, you do multiple things that you have no idea of next day I'll get my food or not. So you kind of improvise with your lifestyle every day to live that life. And now we are all set into one of the lifestyle that we goes into this vehicle. We sit in the car, we go to the office, we sit in a desk, we work there. We come back, we sit in the couch and sofa, look at the TV. We eat our dinner, again we go back to the chair, sit at the dinner, eat. How we sleep, we go back to the bed, we sleep straight. By living a life like this for many years, what do you think will happen to the body? Imagine me sitting in the car, me sitting in the chair in the office, me sitting in the sofa, me sitting in the dining table, my body didn't even cross 90-degree angle. So what am I doing? That it is a bit of the mechanoreceptor, one of the word, it's like a thing that your body has always access. By living a certain kind of a lifestyle, we start losing those access from our body. When we start losing the access from our body comes to a dead end when they start talking to us, telling us, you know, I'm actually in pain right now. Can you please look after me? And then what do? We literally think somebody will come in one night, in one day, I'll be out of the pain completely. That will never happen to me ever again. That's how the body doesn't function. Secondly, what else we do? This people from corporate. We have a 1 hour of exercise method, no? It's a 24 hours a day. But people say, oh, you know, I go for my walk. You know, I go for my jogging. I go to the gym 3 times in a week or 4 times in a week or middle of the lunch break in the office. But do you think is that enough? I don't think it's that enough. Why is not enough? How many meals do we eat in a day? 4? 3, 4? But we eat, we give some time, we eat, we give some time, we eat, we give some time. Why? The things will sustain with us. So as the food gives us energy, similarly, exercise gives us energy. Me doing an exercise 45 minutes and comparing to 24 hours of the day, it goes somewhere and completely messed up. You have no idea why does the 45 minutes gone. I need to find a way to find my ritual in 24 hours to give that little bit of something to my body again and again. So they stand like a pillar, so they can hold things in between throughout the day. So they can hold my body and my mind together and bring me to the balance of that. The problem, we make it more create for us that we think this is right for me, and then we do that. How do we know even that is right for you? Similarly, I'm saying it's like I'm standing in the middle of the pond and saying that I know about body everything, and then one day I wake up and realize, oh no, actually I do not know how to talk about the body. I do not know my body. I know to do every single thing, but I actually don't know. So I take care of my life. Say, okay, I have to do exercise, I have to do run. I would find some point to just do a run, just do this and that. I do this, but do I really know? No, I don't know. I pick up from my own brain and mind saying that I'm gonna do like this. But there's always important to go through a basic, understand who knows things, go approach that. Once you know a system, then you can play in the system. If you do not know the system, and not knowing the system and playing with the system, you can mess up the system much more that you have no idea. So then you go to the different extent of that, and then what happened? It is a lot of a work to going backward and backward and backward and backward, which is never late, which is never too late, but it's always takes place. Like if I don't do it now, it just depending on what kind of a body we have, it just needs that time and length. You have to work more harder with yourself to go there. Is there a goal? No, there is no goal I'm saying here. It's the thing that, am I pleasant in my body when I'm holding myself? Am I pain free? Am I giving the basic needs to my body, what is necessary? If that necessary thing is not there, then how can I say that? This body is not a slave. This body is not a slave which is working for us till we die. This body is an amazing thing which can open up doors for you you have no idea of. The chemical that we have inside of it, that's the fantastic thing of it. A person can get high by going for a run. We do not need to take all this kind of psychedelic things and all. Everything has been given to us. The only possibility that, are we ready to take care of the possibility? Are we ready to meet those possibilities? Because they are all given in this body. They're all chemical stuff. Everything is stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff. Someone can get high by going for a run. It's called the runner's high. You can get high by going for a jogging, by going for a run. So that if you're not allowing this possibility in the body, what it can create for you, then let's not take that time, because I find the time is always very limited. And this is what happened to me. It's very personal to me. Like when I realized that the body is an immense possibility, an infinity way of a source that you can get it out with, I realized I have very less time. Anytime, you don't have the control over when this body will drop, but I have the control over what can I do with this body by the time it gets dropped out. So there are possibilities which we should look at, and it doesn't have to be that is the landmark, we all should reach there. No, we should at least start to begin with. When we start to begin with the work, the taste of it will make you excited and drive you more towards it. It's not about somebody should keep holding your hand and taking you till there. You need to just start. Once you have the taste, you will never back out, I think. And there is always time to do, and also there is always less time to do. Coming to talking about this topic, I would like to share one more thing about the body. Hope you will be interested to know this part of the body. Please, Anvita, let me know when is my time is going out of my hand. So what happened that when I was working with the body, so what happened? How did I get into this information? So this was a completely different technique. I was trying to tell myself I'm some kind of a genius because I have been dancing for many years. I can just take this technique in my hand and just put it in my brain, and I'll very quickly understand the technique, everything, and I'll start my classes, teach people everything, blah, blah, blah. And the moment I went to it, as basic the technique is, even as a dancer, I have gone through every single posture they showed me. I couldn't start teaching. I'm like, no, there is something more than I do not know right now. There is something more they're speaking that I don't know. I must slow down. I must sit with this exercise by myself thousands of times to even know what do they feel like before I go and tell someone, this exercise is like this, because I need to be experienced maybe 100 times before I go and tell someone. And this is the place, this is where when you and the work of yours sit together and spend time, you find that love, you find that joy, you find that infinite amount of love between those two things. You don't have to share with anybody, because that amazing relationship between that work and your body, when they meet, the kind of power they create, the information you will understand from your body, it is like, wow, where do they come from? They can actually listen. Every cells in our body, they're constantly connected to each other, they're constantly working for each other. And the matter of fact is that, am I able to reach to those cells and talk to them? And it's become so big for me. I'm not talking to Rick or I'm not talking to Priya, but this human being, this face is the person holds right now. I'm talking to way beyond this body, which I cannot see, but they are all working for me right now. The information is only coming from my mouth because they're working so synchronously so that I'm able to speak. So every single cells in my body, they're attached right now, they're working to the direction that I want to do the work. So if it is possible this way, is it possible other way? Yes, 100% is absolutely possible in multiple ways. We just need to kind of escape that time and space and know what input am I putting in my body. It is very important. I also want to try to add this one here. The body is such a pure thing that it doesn't say no for anything, but it will only react once you give it that thing to your body. Once you take a good food, your body will flourish. Once you give a bad food, you know what happened the next day. It's very important what kind of input I'm putting in my system. If it is a good input, my body will grow into that. If it is not a good input, my body will just talk to me back again saying that what it is. By doing this and that, by studying this, I came to a place to share with people. And the amazing fact that I saw people, how amazingly, how quickly people used to come out of some kind of a pain. It's like not even the goal. Like some people come to my class saying that they don't even say that I have a pain here, I have a pain there. They just come for the class and they sit in the class and we just do the basic thing of it and just continue doing it. And I tell them that it is, there is no set goal. The only thing you're not going to do, you shouldn't be getting kind of when you come out of the class, you shouldn't be injured more. You should be a better, healthier person rather than injured person. So sometimes I see people continue the class after 2-3 classes, they come back and tell me, that pain of mine used to be there, it's not anymore there. I'm like, okay, but you never told me that you have a pain. I'm happy that it has gone. It is similarly the saying that you do not worry about the pain, you just do the basic need. Automatically, the pain just clear up slowly. The matter is, am I doing that basic need? The basic need has to come and impose on it, and automatically that will clear out. So we sometimes create the pain is the bigger issue than something else. The pain is part of the body. Saying every single thing, there is no correct movement, there is no the movement, there is no correct postures, there is not the correct postures. Every single posture the human can take is the correct postures. Every single movement the human can take is the correct movement. Am I happy when I'm doing that movement? Am I feeling good when I'm taking that position? Am I pain-free? Am I comfortable in my own body than anything else? As a movement itself, practicing a movement which emphasizes, which kind of corrects the movement itself. You don't have to do anything else to make a movement better. Just move. Your body, what you have given anatomically, every single joint, if they move in a better condition, if they move completely in a really good way, the byproduct is complete that you will move well, because the tools of your body, they're in a good place. Why are they going to show you the difficulty or anything? If the tools of my body is in the right place, they will just flourish. They will dance. They will move like you have no idea. Yes, so that's where I would like to finish my topic with. And thank you so much for letting me speak for such a long period of time. I would say Anvita is 30 minutes, yeah?
Yes, we're right on time. Thank you so much, Priya. Thank you so much for sharing the profound knowledge that you have about body. We have heard a lot about it from people who have learned from you, and we've watched you perform. But listening to what it is on the inside today was something else. So
Thank you so much.
I request the audience to drop in your appreciations in the chat box. Meanwhile, I think what really stood out for me was how you mentioned your journey of connecting with the art and then taking a step back and saying, okay, I'm not just a dancer. The word dancer is limiting. I'm a human being. And you saw it for what it is. And then you reconnected with it from the human perspective. So that journey by itself was something that stood out for me. And also a question that keeps repeating in my head throughout the entire conversation was that the body is working for you, but are you working for the body? I think that really hit me hard. So thank you for asking that question. I think it made all of us step back and think, okay, am I working for my body? I am here right now. My body has been so supportive, but am I supporting my body enough? Thank you for putting that thought in our mind.
Thank you.
I feel so much gratitude to my body. Like, I feel like I have not been taking care of it recently, but I really want to take care of it now. Thank you for bringing that here. We have appreciations coming. Wonderfully explained. The goal is health, not an exercise. That was very profound. The body is an unlimited possibility. Brilliant. From Prasad.
Thank you. Thank you.
The involvement of your dance with all the other entities is bravo. From Dharni. Are they in tune with each other? I'm giving like the body is giving me. From Prasad again.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Prasad, for writing that back.
Thank you for this enlightening talk. It made so much sense and felt so relaxing to be freed for chasing the goal. I feel it gave me a whole new perspective and a deeper love for my body. Love the passion with which you delivered your talk. Thank you very much. From Kizzy.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing the beautiful relationship of togetherness between you and your body. A great reminder that this is an intimate and intricate symbiosis between the body and me. From Sudarshan. Exercise as a goal creates pressure. Thank you for that awareness point. From Vishnu.
Very much. Thank you. Yes.
I love how you explained everything in such a simple and fundamental manner. The questions you raised and addressed were such fundamental truths. I felt a few questions that I never realized I had answered. It was a true pleasure listening to you. From Rohit. So much profoundness. As humans, we are capable of moving a lot is something we keep forgetting. It is wonderful to experience your love for physical movement and health. From Shivapriya. A very thought-provoking talk, Priyavrat. I want to thank you for bringing forth the difference between setting an arbitrary goal and realizing what the body needs. Thank you, Priyavrat. From Divya. Loved your explanation of the transition from dancer to human being and how that opens up so many more possibilities. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. From Aditya.
Thank you.
To question, we need to know, what if the knowing is not there? You showed light, and now the questions are very much up in my mind. From Prasad again. Thanks for sharing this knowledge. Felt like there is so much to know about and do back for the body. How much important is movement and exercise for the body? You explain things in a profound and deeper level. From Aishwarya.
Thank you.
How much to an extent our body is a tool to experience, experiment, and understand. It provides us yet another insight you gave us. From Dharmi.
Thank you. Thank you.
All postures and movements are correct as long as the body feels well, full of possibilities through care for the body. Thank you, Priyabrat. There is so much to understand. From Harsh.
Thank you so much, Harsh.
Thank you so much, Priyabrat, for such a profound talk on what it means to exercise, to take care of the body, and to be with the body and give back to the body. Thank you so much for sharing it with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. No, really mean it. Absolutely grateful for that.
Moving on to our next performer for today. She is here to take us through a musical journey. I invite Dharmi. Dharmi is an aesthetics-driven girl, a speed enthusiast and a creative converter who uses fabrics to create beautiful designs. She has been devoted to singing for the past few years. Her dedication towards her performances is profound and straight from her heart. Waiting to listen to you, Dharmi.
Thank you, Anvita. Om Namah Pranavataaya Shuddhananaikam-murtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Aim Hreem Saraswatyai Namaha. Hreem Aim Om. This evening, I would like to sing a Tamil song which is regarding Thiruvannamalai Ishwarar. And this is a song where light, in the form of light, in the form of fire, the darkness, the ignorance is been removed. And this song is dedicated to Lord Shiva. Deepajoti oli tarum telivu undan vali varum. Maname deepajoti oli tarum telivu undan vali varum. ஒளியில் வாடும் ஈசனை எண்ணி பேச வரும் சுகம். ஒளியில் வாழும் ஈசனை எண்ணி பேச வரும் சுகம். ஓம் நம சிவாய. ஓம் நம சிவாய. ஓம் நம சிவாய. ஓம் நம சிவாய. அருணாச்சலாய. Om Namah Shivaya. Arunachalaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Deepa Jyoti Oli Tarum Telivu Undan Vali Varum. Shivanai Ariya Virumbar Telivai Ariya Mudiyar. ஜீவனாக தோற்றம் கொள்ள ஜீவனாக மாட்டார். சிவனை அறிய விரும்பார் தெளிவை அறிய முடியார் ஜீவனாக தோற்றம் கொள்ள ஜீவனாக மாட்டார் சங்கர சிவனே ஜெய சங்கர சிவனே சங்கர சிவனே ஜெய சங்கர சிவனே அறியாமல் எங்கெங்கும் அலைகின்ற யாரும் அருணாச்சலநாதனிடம் உரையா மனமே அறியாமல் எங்கெங்கும் அலைகின்ற யாரும் அருணாச்சலநாதனிடம் உரையா மனமே தோன்றும் பிறவி தீரவே ஒன்று நீயும் சிவனிடம் தோன்றும் பிறவி தீரவே ஒன்று நீயும் சிவனிடம் தீபஜோதி ஒளி தரும் தெளிவு உந்தன் வழி வரும் ஒளியில் வாழும் ஈசனை எண்ணி பேச வரும் சுகம் ஓம் நம சிவாய ஓம் நம சிவாய ஓம் நம சிவாய ஓம் நம சிவாய அருணாச்சலாய ஓம் நம சிவாய பற்று நீக்கும் பாசம் பரமசிவனின் பாதம் பசுபதிக்கும் பாசம் கொள்ள பயமகன்று போகும் பற்று நீக்கும் பாசம் பரமசிவனின் பாதம் பசுபதி மேல் பாசம் கொள்ள பயமகன்று போகும் சங்கர சிவனே ஜெய சங்கர சிவனே சங்கர சிவனே ஜெய சங்கர சிவனே ஓடோடி ஆடிய பின் போகின்ற நேரம் உணர்வினிலே சிவனறிதல் கடினம் மனமே ஓடோடி ஆடிய பின் போகின்ற நேரம் உணர்வினிலே சிவனறிதல் கடினம் மனமே தோன்றும் பிறவி தீரவே ஒன்று நீயும் சிவனிடம் தோன்றும் பிறவி தீரவே ஒன்று நீயும் சிவனிடம் ஜீவஜோதி ஒளி தரும் தெளிவு உந்தன் வழி வரும் ஒளியில் வாழும் ஈசனை எண்ணி பேச வரும் சுகம் ஓம் நம சிவாய ஓம் நம சிவாய ஓம் நம சிவாய ஓம் நம சிவாய அருணாச்சலாய ஓம் நம சிவாய அருணாச்சலாய ஓம் நம சிவாய தீபஜோதி ஒளி தரும் தெளிவு உந்தன் வழி வரும் there is one more song which I am dedicating to Parvati Devi on the Navratri event also. கூட்டியவா என்னை தன்னடியாரில் கொடிய வினை ஓட்டியவா தன்னை உள்ள வண்ணம் காட்டியவா கண்ட கண்ணும் மனமும் கலிக்கின்றனவா நாட்டியவா நடமாடகை தாமரை அணங்கே சின்னஞ்சிறு பெண் போலே சிற்றாடை இடை உடுத்தி சின்னஞ்சிறு பெண் போலே சிற்றாடை இடை உடுத்தி சிவகங்கை குலத்தருகே ஸ்ரீதுர்க்கை ஸ்ரீ திருப்பால் சின்னஞ்சிறு பெண் போலே சிற்றாடை இடை உடுத்தி சிவகங்கை குலத்தருகே ஸ்ரீதுர்க்கை ஸ்ரீ திருப்பால் சின்னஞ்சிறு பெண் போலே பெண்ணவளின் கண்ணழகை பேசி முடியாது பெண்ணவளின் கண்ணழகை பேசி முடியாது பேரழகு கீடாக வேறொன்றும் கிடையாது பேரழகு கீடாக வேறொன்றும் கிடையாது சின்னஞ்சிறு பெண் போலே சிற்றாடை இடை உடுத்தி சிவகங்கை குல தருகே ஸ்ரீ துர்க்கை சிரித்திருப்பாள் சின்னஞ்சிறு பெண் போலே பின்னல் ஜடை போட்டு பிச்சி பூ சூடிடுவாள் பின்னல் ஜடை போட்டு பிச்சி பூ சூடிடுவாள் பித்தனுக்கு ஈடாக நர்த்தனமும் ஆடிடுவாள் பித்தனுக்கு ஈடாக நர்த்தனமும் ஆடிடுவாள் சின்னஞ்சிறு பெண் போலே சிற்றாடு இடை உடுத்தி சிவகங்கை குல தருகே ஸ்ரீ துர்க்கை சிரித்திருப்பாள் சின்னஞ்சிறு பெண் போலே. Thank you.
Thank you, Dagni. Again, it was so beautiful listening to you sing. I tell that to you every time you sing. It is so visible how much devotion is there within you for the form of art or for Lord Shiva, Lord Parvati. It is so visible in your voice and your expressions. Thank you so much for singing for us today. Wonderfully sung. Really loved your involvement in the song. Feels like it's flowing directly from the heart. From Prasad. Harsh says, wow, Dharni, full of heart into the heart. Thank you, Dharni, for the renditions to soak in. With smileys. The clarity in every single word and the rhythm were so wonderful, Dharni. Loved it. From Shivapriya. Wow, 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 Dharni. Heard you sing for the first time today and I am overcome by your grace. So beautiful, Dharni. Hugs from Divya. Thank you for these divine songs, Dharni. From Kisi. Thanks for the heartfelt singing and inviting the grace of Shiva and Parvati to join us. From Sudarshan. Absolutely melodious singing, full of devotion, warmed my heart. From Jayashri. It was divine, Dharni. The way you sing with complete involvement and from heart just connects me to the divine within me. It is amazing how you sing such difficult lyrics and your background of clouds was making me feel I'm mountains listening to this echoing. Thank you. It was beautiful. From Bhagya. Wonderful singing. Enjoyed a lot. From Vanita. It was so beautiful to listen to you, Dharni. I loved the variations and inflections. It was such a combination of competence and compassion. From Rohit. Wow, Dharni, it felt so divine and beautiful. Each word that came was so connected and coming from the heart. It was so peaceful to listen. Hugs to you from Aishwarya. So beautiful, Dharni. Your heartful singing brings the essence of the song in front of me. Love to you from Ramadevi. It was flowing. Great voice from Vishnu. Beautiful song and your singing. Thank you from Priya Brett. Thank you. Too. Thank you so much, Dharni, for taking us through that divine journey. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for performing for us today. Our next speaker for today is going to be talking about haiku. Most of us here might have heard the word haiku. Most of us here might not have. I have heard the word haiku. The first time I heard haiku, I was like, I have heard this somewhere, but I did not know what it meant. I immediately went and Googled what it was. We have Kizzy Basu with us today to tell us more about it. Kizzy is an avid learner and wishes she had the time and ability to learn the many, many things this beautiful world has to offer. Right now, she is grateful to the talented and lovely Kala Ramesh who champions haiku in India. Kizzy is a beginner in this journey and hopes that this 30 minutes she will share her love for this deceptively simple art form with many more people. Her speech is related to haiku. For those of you who do not know, it is a short form Japanese poem which through words paints a picture of a movement, just like a mandala. A movement is fleeting, yet the haiku form immortalizes it in its expression and its impact on the reader. These two contradictions of something temporary and something permanent create for her a perfect meeting point of art, spirituality, and silence. And that's how she connects haikus to mandalas. Waiting to listen to you, Kizzy, all yours.
Thank you, Anvita. So I think you set me up very well. I would like to reiterate that I am not an expert in haiku. I honestly just love it. And I owe whatever, and this love was it was infectious because the person in India, I think, who popularized it, like many people write, but Kala Ramesh, she's written many books on haiku. And I asked her permission. She's like, yeah, go ahead, teach, you know. So I was like, I am not an expert at all. So but her enthusiasm for this form is so infectious, and I actually understand her haiku. There are some haiku which go over my head. It's very esoteric, but her haiku is very simple. It paints a picture for me so clearly, and it really touches me. And she, to me, embodies that childlike love, for her art. And she's so, she's such a master at it, but she hates being called that. So everything I've learned, or have, if this art form has, touched me in some ways, it's because of Kala. So I'd like to thank her. And I will share a presentation because, haiku is so short that you will not remember it. So I wanted to share what it is. And the reason I wanted to bring it here is because, I wanted to give back something to the, Pavitram team, to Prasad, to the Mandala community, to my friends. I've grown to know them and been on this journey with them. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity to share something that really touched me. And and I hope that at the end of this 30 minutes, you will have some appreciation. And if we have time and I manage it well, then we will write some haiku together. And you will see that it's not so scary. It looks, it might seem daunting, but I'm really excited to see how it goes. Okay, so I'm going to share my presentation. And Harsh, do you think you can give me the rights? Yeah. I think you can see. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Lizzie, it's visible.
Okay, great. So I'm going to start with how I fell in love with haiku. I used to be like, 15, 16 years old. I had a book about a girl who travels to she's an orphan, and she goes and lives with her aunt in the UK, and somebody gifts her and her cousin 2 Japanese dolls. And she learns to build, she's very lonely, she's not at home, she was raised in India, but she finds herself displaced, and she connects to these 2 Japanese dolls because they are displaced like her. So her cousin says, let's just stick them into the doll's house. And this girl, she says, no, they're Japanese dolls. They don't live in houses like we do. So the whole book is about how she starts understanding the Japanese culture and starts to build a house for these 2 dolls. And while she goes about doing this, she makes friends and she finds a place in her home with her new family. And in that book, like, the book was full of like lots of stories, little adventures, how the Japanese houses are, how the paintings are. And in the middle of it, there was a haiku. And I used to have a lot of energy as a child, always distracted. When I would read a book, I would literally be out of my body inside that world that was created, in the book. And in the middle of that book, suddenly there was a haiku about cherry blossoms or some blossoms. I don't remember the full haiku, but it said something like, cherry blossoms, see how they blossom, one now, one later, And I don't know why those 2 lines, it just stopped me in my tracks, and I was so, it stunned me in its simplicity. Like, there was no hurry in that poem, It was like, it's as if like it was saying so much with saying so little. And for a moment, I felt like I came back into my body, instead of being in Japan and being in England with this girl, just brought me to the simplicity and the beauty of nature, where everything takes its own time, So it just said, like, see how they blossom, one now, one later. So I don't know why, but that line has stayed with me. And I was like, what is this poem? And that's the first time I heard about haiku. And then 25 or 30, I don't know how many years later, 25 years later, I find myself in Delhi and I encounter a workshop by Kala, where she took a session, and from then on, I started reintegrating it. What haiku did for me, like, is, how do I put it? it communicated to me in very, like, I think it's easy to say a lot. It's very difficult to say little, so you have to edit. And when you're reading a haiku, or when you're learning to write one, you have to hit the core of something, like like really learn to observe it, really learn to be in the moment. So for me, haiku shifted that perspective in me, like making me observe nature, making me observe situations around me, and learning to express it, maybe not with so many words, but learning to keep it to its bare essence, and And that has taught me a lot in terms of how to be in the moment and be connected to wherever I am. So that's a little bit about my journey with haiku. I wanted to share what is a haiku. For me, the way I see it, like a haiku is like a painting, and because it's like a picture of a moment in time or a situation in time, but it's not just as simple as that. So I'm going to share this painting, which I really like. The reason I chose this painting because, you know, for those of you who live in Bombay, there's a flyover, or who have experienced this flyover. It's called the JJ flyover. It's very long and it goes through the city at a certain height, and there are houses on both sides. So for me, when I saw this picture for the first time, it reminded me of the houses in Bombay and how I would pass by in the cab, and I would see all people living in their houses, and I would get a glimpse of their lives, you know, for that moment. So this is how this painting connected to me. But a haiku is like this painting, you know. For me, it evokes that story, this feeling that we just get a, you know, we're passing through, we get a glimpse, and you know, there is a context, there's a background. You can see a building, you know, some of the lights are off, somewhere the lights are on. So you know where it is. It's an apartment, it's a building. But then you zoom in, you know, there is a woman in there, you know, I don't know what she's doing. She could be bending over a dead body, or she could be retrieving something from her drawer. You don't know what her story is and what her life is. But in that moment that you've captured, there is like a backdrop and there is a subject. And a haiku is a little bit like that. It's a snapshot. There is a backdrop, like everything, there is a context, and then there is a subject, and the two come together to create this picture. And the picture, maybe you painted it, but the meaning and the reaction to that picture is not yours to control. It can be anyone. So there is no right or wrong meaning of a haiku. The haiku, what you write, or just like a painting, there is no prescription as to what you're supposed to think, or it's not like, oh, what do I think the poet meant? No, all we're supposed to do is to see what does it evoke in you and how does it connect to you, and that's all there is. So that's a little bit of an example of what a haiku is. I'll give you a very famous haiku. It's by Basho, who's considered like the old founding father. And here you see the haiku says, the old pond, a frog leaps in the sound of water. The old pond, a frog leaps in the sound of water. It's a very simple haiku. Like you can see there's a backdrop. So possibly a picture of an old pond. You know, by old, I think it means an ancient pond. It's probably been there for years. And how beautifully the words have been crafted. So you can almost hear the sound of the frog. You can hear the stillness in the air, and all you can hear is there's meditative silence and just the frog leaping into the sound of the water. So it's almost like the sound that the frog makes when he hits the water and the jump become one. So it's almost like he's leaping into the sound. So that is the beauty of the word. And this has come from his deep observation and meditation. And, you know, probably when we go through life and we hear all these sounds, and a frog jumps, big deal. But, you know, the way he's created this beautiful meditative image and the feeling it evokes in you, that, yeah, when you hear a frog jump in, you know, that plop sound, it's almost like the frog is jumping into the sound. So this is how beautifully this, you know, very famous haiku connected to me. So like you've seen when I gave the example of the haiku, it follows a simple 5-7-5 syllable structure. So I'll just go back, like you can see the syllable is like how it sounds. Of course, all of these were written in Japanese and they've been translated, so they may not match. Again, there is no rule. People have broken these rules, but since it's an introduction to haiku, I thought I will just stick to what are the basics of how to recognize one. What we mean by 5-7-5 is, you know, it's a short, long, short structure. So even if you don't remember 575, it's short, long, short. And that's how typically it follows, okay? Now, there are two aspects to the haiku. Remember the backdrop and the subject. So similar to like that, there is a phrase and the fragment. And what is called the kire or the cut. Kire means cut in Japanese. So the haiku is not just a single image. It's always two distinct images linked together. So I'll go back to Basho. The old pond, so you have zoomed in wide, okay? Before you read the haiku, you can picture the pond. So that is your phrase. And the frog leaps in the sound of the water is the subject. He's zoomed in into a specific area on the pond. So these are the two images. There's a pond and there's a frog. And he's brought these two images together. And the cut is the gap between these two images. Now, Kala keeps telling us the cut has to be related, but not too close, you know. It can't be very close. It can't be like, the bank of the pond and then it has to be a little bit of a gap, but it can't be so unconnected that it doesn't make sense at all. So there is an art to the cut or the joining of these two images. The images must have some connection, but the fact that we are bringing these two worlds together is where the magic happens. I'm gonna give an example of Kala's haiku. Dense fog. The train evaporates into a distant horn. Dense fog, the train evaporates into a distant horn. For me, this haiku evokes the image of a railway station in winter or even monsoons. And when you suddenly see the train, you said the fog has rolled in and the train is sort of disappearing. Instead of the train moving into the fog, you know, the way the poet here writes it, or she pictures it, it's almost like the train is evaporating because it's moving into the fog, and you can hear the train, but you can't see it anymore. So the train evaporates into a distant horn. So as you can see, using the words, there's such a very vivid picture that has been created. And just to again amplify, there are two parts to the haiku, the fragment and the phrase. You don't have to always start with the fragment. You can start with the phrase, end with the fragment. But the 575 short, long, short, art form kind of follows. And sometimes we cheat also. Like if you don't have short, long, short, what people normally do is they give space. So after like dense fog, then you give space so that the line moves so that it visually looks short, long, short. So that's also something people do. But this is just to illustrate what the fragment is and what the phrase is. Now we come to another aspect, the kigo or the seasonal words. The kigo means the season. And this is where my love for haiku also comes about, because in this form, everything has a season and seasons have a meaning. And as we go in, share with you what it means. Winter, summer, monsoons are specific to India, so very cultural. The moment you use a seasonal word, you are pinning that haiku down into a time and a space. So sometimes when you use these words which are seasonal, like when you say mango, I don't need to tell you it's summer. It is summer. It's summer in India. If I just use the word mango. So mango is a seasonal word. And when we use the seasonal word, not only are we communicating where we are, when we are, but every season has a mood. And it's very similar to the Indian concept, like in classical music, there are renditions according to season, because every season creates a bhav or a mood in us. And similarly in haiku also, there are many, many examples of using seasonal word, even time of day. And not only do these seasonal words connote the time and place, they also connect feeling. So a lot of times if you see a haiku with a winter in it or autumn in it, it is talking about the end of something, the end of a life, sometimes referring to death. Spring, again, referring to renewal and hope. Summer also refers to, the abundance of nature and a lot. So it depends on how you are using the seasonal word. It is not just time and place, it also connects to feeling and to the life cycle that is prevalent in nature. This is an example. Crocus is a particular kind of flower. So what the haikus also make you do is, sometimes you don't know what these words are and you Google them and you can actually learn about a culture. Like this is a particular flower in Europe, and it only blooms in summer. So, you know, they're using the summer word crocus, the balloon man returns to the park. So you can almost picture a renewal of summer and spring coming back. Next, I will bring a concept which I love. You know, haiku has two things. So far, the haiku that I shared, hopefully they have created in your head a vivid picture. It's a painting in your head, right? Like you can picture the park, you know, with the balloon man, you picture the train disappearing. So that's what we call the horizontal axis, which means the image is very clear. But the haiku also has a vertical axis, a meaning beyond, okay? And I'm going to share a haiku that is one of my favorites. I mean, if we had more time and this was an interactive session all the time, then, you know, maybe we could have discussed this haiku. But because there is no time, I'm just going to leave it with you to reflect on what the vertical axis could be. Falling apple, the branch sweeps into a new balance. Falling apple, the branch sweeps into a new balance. It's a beautiful picture. You know, there's a branch which is probably weighed down by an apple, and the apple falls, and the branch snaps back into a new position. It's a very simple, a moment in time which the poet has captured, you know, of something that happens naturally. Maybe around us, we don't see it. But for me, the vertical axis is so beautiful, you know, because falling apple signifies the loss or a natural cycle of death. And the branch sweeps into a new balance. It also signals that, you know, after death, there is going to be a new balance. There is, after loss, you will find a new equilibrium. So to me, it's not, nature is not just giving us a pic. If you look deeply, if we connect to the essence of what is around us, it can tell us so much more, you know, can evoke that feeling of being connected to the oneness, to the cycle, to what is natural. So this is one of my favorite haiku because it has such a clear image, and it also talks to me so clearly about loss and finding new balance after loss. Two broad types of haiku. What are they? Haiku tradition is about nature, but it can be about daily life, a moment in time. So far you've seen a lot of, you could see that the poet is not saying the train which was very fast or a beautiful branch. So no adjectives there. And it is, so he's not or she is not imposing herself into the poem. It is an observation. But the observation is a very deep one, and it is somewhere connected to the poet. And because they have connected to a deeper meaning, they can convey that meaning without explaining it. So this is about nature and daily life, but it can sometimes get very hard to do because we're not living in, you know, beautiful jungle or a meadow somewhere. So we have a busy life. So there's another kind of haiku. Sorry, this is an example of one of mine, which I wrote recently. And the poet, here it is a scene, I call this haiku is early dusk, your tie still knotted hangs in the closet. So early dusk here, again, like I mentioned, in the time of day, dusk is about something ending. It also signifies death and a chapter closing. So when you read this haiku, you can get clues about what this, you know, dusk is a feeling of things ending or closing, nighttime falling. And your tie still knotted hangs in the closet. So it is an observation. There is no intrusion or no feeling, but it cues, because of the dusk, a sense of loss and someone's clothes left behind. So it is a sense of being alone and of being in solitude and missing someone. So This is where you can see that there is no explanation. It is simply an observation. Like I mentioned, it's not possible all the time. So when the poet does bring his or her thoughts or reflections, it's called a senryu. A senryu example is as follows. Perhaps next year, she says, autumn mist. So this is what the poet is reflecting. Perhaps next year, she says, autumn mist. You don't know what the poet is saying, but again, the poem can evoke a feeling or a pathos in you. Autumn, again, a season of things starting to decay, starting to close, end of its cycle. And perhaps next year is maybe cueing something about their relationship, maybe something that's left unspoken, something that is a cause of sorrow between them. Yeah. So this is where the poet is bringing his or her thoughts or reflection, and it's called a senryu. So what's the difference? It is a haiku when I'm part of the bigger world, and it is a senryu when the world is a part of me. So you are free. It is not just observations in nature. We can write about things or how we are feeling, but the same structure holds a phrase and fragments and two images coming together. Here's some haiku that I like, and which we can learn to sort of read and maybe appreciate together. This one's my favorite. The thief left it behind, the moon at my window. The thief left it behind, the moon at my window, by Rokan. This is one of the masters. Again, a very beautiful thought. You can picture him coming home, maybe to an empty house. He sees the thief has taken everything. He says so much without saying so little, right? You open the door, he has nothing. He's already a monk. The thief has taken everything. But he opens the door and he sees through the window the full moon. And even though he has nothing, he realizes, oh, the moon's still there, you know? So I like the way, you know, and Rokan is a monk. So it's a very spiritual kind of thought. And just a brief word, the moon in Japan is a seasonal word because you can only see the moon in autumn. You can't see it in winter because of the snow. You can't see it in summer because of the clouds. You can't see it in other seasons, but the time the sky is very clear is autumn in Japan. So you know also when it is, you know, and you know because he's Japanese that this is an autumn night. So yeah. Winter evening, with tiny stitches, the doll's smile returns. Winter evening, with tiny stitches, the doll's smile returns. I'm not going to explain it, just leave it to you to feel what you feel. The long night, an old woman's loneliness follows me home. Cold evening, changing my teacup to the other cheek. Steeping tea, the time it takes to lose a street to snow. Sudden shower, the boy wipes the sky from the tables. Sudden shower, the boy wipes the sky from the tables. So a lot of people feel that haiku is just too simple. There's no poetry in it. What's the big deal? But I find the way the words have been written to create the picture. Like I can see, you know, the stack of tables. It's probably a restaurant. You know, there's a boy who's probably working there. And after the shower, you know, everything is wet and the sky is reflected on the table. So you can almost picture the sky on the tables and the boy is cleaning it off. So such a beautiful image conveyed with so little. Okay, now we get to the fun exercise to write your own haiku. So how this will happen is, I know it seems like, oh, we've never done this and it's very daunting, but haiku is not just always about observing and very deep. You can have fun with it. So haiku is part makoto, which is the truth, which means it has to have some truth in it. It can't be fake. You can't like take an experience which is not yours. You can use your imagination 100%. So it has to have a ring of truth, but it is also about inspiration. You don't have to always say the facts. It can be how you imagine a situation to be. It can also be about inspiration. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Anvita, will you please keep the time? And I'll also keep it. So give me 3 minutes and you can just jot down as many fragments as you can think of, okay? So on a piece of paper or on your computer, wherever, you just jot down by fragments, you just saw. It could be 1 word, it could be 2 words, anything that comes. Just write as many as you can in 3 minutes, okay? And once you do that, we will do the next part of the exercise. Maybe 3 minutes is too long. You can keep a minute if you're on time.
I think we're done with this.
We are done? Okay, great. So now here are some of a list of phrases, okay? Now see if you can match any of your fragments with these phrases, and if you can change the phrase. You don't have to use it exactly as it is. See if any of your fragments make that 2 image connect with any of these phrases. Just have fun with it. Just like see what goes with what. And yeah, and if you think that you've come across something that's talking to you, please share it in the message. We don't have time, but maybe we can read and discuss a few, or maybe 2. We can pick 2 and discuss it.
I think we have quite a few on the chat window, Kizzy.
Oh, we do? Okay, great.
Yes.
See the chat window. Let me see.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So share the one you like the most. I think, how do I get back? Stop share. Oh my God. Let's see. Oh, nice. Very nice. Oh, very nice, Divya. So yeah, I think everyone's gotten over their first haiku. What should I say? Barrier, which is that you've written one which inspires. I think for me, I really like last of the day's light. I swing between those trees. It's nice. You've added your own fragment. That's cool. Divya, I like yours. Cozy sweater, the last of the day's light. Would anyone like to talk about any of the haiku? Shiva's is also nice. Floating leaf, the road disappears into a sharp turn. Yeah. So you see, sometimes you don't need to really observe. It is about an image and connecting it with another and creating a new feeling for yourself. Yeah. So that's it from me. I hope you had a good introduction and to haiku, and I hope you have a little bit more of an appreciation or of this art form like I do. That's it.
Thank you so much, Kizzy. Like, I think initially when I Googled what haiku meant, it was all just abstract terms for me. And now writing my first haiku, I feel like I do have a lot more appreciation for the form of art. And I'm fascinated by how little words can mean so much and how it is an intersection of various creativities, right? Like there is the creative element of the author, and there is a creative element of the reader. And
Yes.
it can, yeah, the same thing can mean so many different things to different people. I think that's where the beauty of haiku lies. Thank you so much for sharing it with us, Kizzy.
Thanks, Anita.
The audience have any questions or appreciation, please feel free to put it on chat. Brilliantly explained, Kizzy. Thank you very much for the simple yet profound presentation from Prasad. Such a simple sharing of the process steps. Amazing from Deepa Mahesh. Thanks, Kizzy. Was a wonderful session. Today was the first time I have heard about haikus, and it piqued my curiosity. Haiku couldn't have been said more clearer. Sudarshan, that's a haiku from him. Thank you so much for sharing so much about this art form. I really love how you can expand infinitely from a moment of stillness. It's really something that I felt and connected with very deeply from Aditya. October evening, through little words we spoke, from Harsh.
Nice.
Love. Oh, you have a lot of comments. I will scroll up. Yes. Love the explanation. It was so simple and profound. How so few words can be a reflection of so much. It's like a painting and a mirror at the same time.
So nice.
From Rohit. Thank you, Kizzy. From Harsh. Lovely, lively, tiny truths around nature and inspirations around us in few words. Enjoyed your narration, especially Kigo. From Dharni. Amount of observation, creativity, generic yet precious expression needed for a haiku. Thank you for sharing this, Kizzy. From Vishnu.
Thank you.
Oh, it was super fun. You explained it so beautifully and so simply. I think these were the best slides I have seen in my life. A picture and just few words speaking so much. Just like haiku. It really brought out that snapshot so vividly and gave so much meaning to it. Thank you so much for introducing me to this lovely art form. From Bhagya. Kizzy, haiku has always been something I have heard about, but today, learning how I can freeze those fleeting moments that I experience every day in time seems to have opened something inside. Thank you, Kizzy. From Divya. Shivapriya says, Kizzy, so wonderfully explained. It's good to know the nuances of creating one technically with observation and love. Thank you. Love the pictures too. From Shivapriya. Explain so simple yet so intense form of art. What I like the most is connecting two instances with the person's choice and perception. Thanks, Kizzy, for the beautiful presentation and introducing haiku. From Aishwarya. Thank you for sharing the beautiful art of expression. From Monisha.
Thank you everyone for your comments. And Sudarshan and Harsh, you are like top of class right now.
Thank you so much, Kizzy. Thank you so much for making all of us fall in love with something you fell in love with. Thank you so much.
Yay.
We can now break for 5 minutes for if you guys want to grab a cup of coffee or get a bite. Please feel free to do it. We will join back again at 7 o'clock to continue with the session. See you all. I hope we're all back after the break. So, our next speaker for today is going to be talking about the concept of eurythmy in the form of a mandala. We have with us Deepa Mahesh, who is the founder and CEO of Purna Wellbeing, a leadership transformation company. She enables root-to-shoot transformation in leaders and organizations through life and leadership coaching, group workshops, well-being interventions, and speaking engagements. Her coaching practice and workshops integrate arts and mindfulness practices such as visual arts, meditation, mandalas, expressive writing, poetry, body movement, and dance. She is a strong believer in the power of self to transform, heal one's past, and progress towards one's future. She has been an avid journaler for over 2 decades and expresses herself through words, mandalas, visuals, and poetry. We're waiting to listen to you about what eurythmy is and how you connect it to a mandala. Over to you, Deepa.
Thank you. Thank you, Anvita. So I'm going to have two parts to today's sharing. One is when I'm sitting and like we are all sitting. And the next part, which is going to come very soon, where I'm going to ask you to move with me. And why I say this is because when I started learning eurythmy is the art of harmonious movement. When I started learning eurythmy about 6 years back, when somebody used to ask me what is eurythmy, it was so hard to explain. And I mean, today I have more words to explain it, but nothing like an experience in itself. So I'm going to lead you through an experience, but before that, I'll just share a little ground rules and what is eurythmy. So eurythmy is beautiful, harmonious movements. And it came into being almost in, by this spiritual scientist called Dr. Rudolf Steiner, who is an Austrian, and who basically he wanted to bring esotericism to people. He knew that human beings could understand spiritual science, but he wanted to bring it in a way that people understand it through experience and embodying it. That's how eurythmy came into being. So Rudolf Steiner has his movement in agriculture, which is called biodynamic farming, in education, which is called Waldorf education, in medicine, it's called anthroposophic medicine, and in the field of movement, it is called eurythmy. So my connection with eurythmy goes back 6 years back when I had seen a performance. And when I saw that performance, I almost saw that it felt like there was a stage and angels were moving. I had no idea what they were doing, but I just knew that it was not real, it was surreal. And in that moment, I said, what if I learn this? Because I have always been into movement right from my childhood, being a Bharatanatyam dancer, and then I'm a folk dancer too. So I wanted to learn that. And there was no source to learn it. 2 years from then, they announced a course in India. So teachers from London School of Eurythmy were willing to come to India to teach us because they believed that spirituality and esotericism was already present in India, and we will be able to pick it up very soon. That's how 11 of us joined the course, and we continued. And then there is a next batch that got announced. So that's how I started eurythmy. And if I were to say how it has impacted me, from being all over and from not being able to really feel myself totally, being emotionally thrown, today I feel I'm far more grounded, far more aware, far more mindful of what I do, what I speak, what I think, and how I behave. So yeah, this is a short introduction of what is eurythmy. Now connecting it to the mandala. So in the last 4 months, many things have been happening in my life. In my eurythmy front practice, I am in my last year. So I had to give my final year presentation, which just happened 2 hours back. And there I presented, so what I did is I selected about 8 exercises, eurythmy exercises, and I chose a group and I chose individual participants and I led them through the exercises. And I was studying what is the impact of these exercises on them. I knew it had an impact on me, but I was curious to see if there is an impact on them. And that is what I was presenting today. In the whole process, I had to do artistic work. So as I sat with it, a mandala emerged. And it was an inside out mandala of these exercises. That is what I'm going to share today. So really, it's an essence of the study that I've been doing for the last 4 months, which culminated 2 hours back, which I'm going to share with you. So it's really the prasad. It's like sharing the prasad with all of you, and I'm so thrilled to do that. I'm so fortunate, I feel. And today being World Mental Health Day, for me, mental health is very important, and it's not just the mind; it's the holistic being, the holistic self. And being able to do that and this together on this special day is extremely special. I'm so gifted, and thanks to all of you for having my session on this day. So I'm going to stand up now. You can sit for a bit till I show you the. So eurythmy, there are a few principles in eurythmy. One is eurythmy is an art of mindful movement. So whenever we practice eurythmy, we are every minute in the moment. We are aware where our hands are going, we're aware where our feet is, we're aware where our body is in relation to the environment we are standing in. And when we start the practice, we always start with a reverence gesture. And this is the gesture of reverence. We always start with, having this attitude of reverence. And why we do that? Because in eurythmy, everything starts from the heart center. We feel the image first, and then we bring the image to the periphery. It starts from the center to periphery. I feel when I lead you, you will come to know. I will give you an image. You invoke the image in the mind, and then automatically the gesture, you become the image actually. You embody the image. That's the second principle. The third principle is, it is very meditative and mindful, but we never close our eyes. This is a practice that we do, when you do certain exercises, you feel automatically the eyes close. But our training is, we feel meditative and we watch and we are mindful with our open eyes. So we also don't use mirrors. Unlike other dance forms, where you dance in front of a mirror, our mirror is our consciousness. We are training our mind to note our movement and therefore make changes if we have to in the next time we practice. So that's why we are actually building the Sakshi Bhava, the witness, automatically with every single moment of practice. And the fifth one is that breathing. We don't synchronize the breath, the breathing with the practice. The practice itself is breathing. In the practice itself, there will be the in-breath and the out-breath. And which is why after we practice, we don't feel tired. We feel enlivened. We feel a sense of harmony inside. So these are the basic principles. And I'm going to share with you this. Can you see? Am I spotlighted? I'm on spotlight.
Yes.
Okay. I'm seeing all of you. Okay. So this is actually the summary of all the exercises I led. So I'm going to share this with you like a journey. So there was a pre-birth intention of our coming to this earth. The angels, our parents, our soul prayed, purified the place to allow our birth. And then there was a moment when I was born. I became upright with my birth, and that's what differentiates me from an animal. I have a spine, and I allow myself to be upright. The moment I was born, I became aware of my in-breath and my out-breath, the contraction and the expansion. And then I started to walk. And it is a very special walk with a crown on my head. I act in the world, I sustain my actions in the world, and I finish those actions and wait for the destiny to show up. And then I act again, I sustain my actions, and I finish my actions. And then there comes a moment when I feel that I am the 5-pointed star. The star is in me, and I'm all vibrant and radiant with my inner light and ready to shine from the inner to the outer. And then comes a moment when I realize that I can flow within boundaries. I'm going to bring one more image. I start in the center, I flow out, come back to the center, I flow to my other direction again, come back to the center, and I keep flowing, and I flow, come back to the center, flow, center, periphery, center, periphery. And then I realize that I am grounded. Even though I'm all over, I can come back to the center and I can feel steadfast. And this is the journey of our life. I'm going to take 1 minute to be silent to allow you to digest. And I'm going to let this visual go now. And I'm going to urge you to stand up and create some space and join me in the movement to bring this alive. As many of you who can keep your videos on, it would be great because we could get energy from each other. And one more thing is, if any of you do not want to move, even watching eurythmy is extremely therapeutic. So just be as mindful as you would be if you were actually moving. We are not going to, I'm not going to ask you how you're feeling in between. We will do that later. We just go through the journey together. Start with our feet together, offering reverence to this space, thanking the ground for having us to be able to stand on this floor and move. Invoke the feeling of reverence in your heart center. And you just imitate and bring the feeling throughout the journey.
to refine this space, to refine the environment, to refine my body. I pause. Refine my inspiration, refine my intuition. I reach out to the spiritual world. I receive. I surrender. Come back. Now allow yourself to go into darkness. Imagine that you are under the ground, like a seed. You are in darkness, waiting to sprout. The moment comes when you start to slowly start rooting. And as you root, there is an impulse to come out above the ground. And slowly come up. And stand straight and tall. I am upright. I access my inspiration. I take my light and my inspiration to the world and act in the world. I let go. My inner light remains, and I allow myself to sleep at night and go into darkness, knowing fully well that in the morning, with my inner light, I am awake and ready and upright. And once again, I open to my inspiration and take my light and inspiration to the world. And I let go. In the morning, I'm open. I go about my time, my things in the world. And at night, I return myself. In the morning, I'm up about again. And at night, I retire. And then choose a moment. I imagine that I have a crown on my head. My gaze is always in the front, neither up or down. If it's up, the crown will fall backward. If it's down, the crown will fall forward. I take my right foot behind, getting ready for the very special, mindful, Eurythmy walk. I lift my right foot, I sustain it forward and place it with my toe first. Lift my left foot, sustain it, feet parallel to the ground, and place it forward. Lift, carry, and place. Lift, carry, place, lift, carry, place. Very mindful of every movement my legs are making. Carry. And there is a sudden awareness of my inner light. Imagine a light coming from the head, entering the head, and this beam of light enters the head. From the head, it travels to my right foot. Extend the right foot to the right. From the right foot to the left arm. To the left arm. And from the left arm to the right arm. From the right arm to the left foot. And that beam travels back to my head, making me a fully bright and illuminated 5-pointed star. Feel yourself as a 5-pointed star. The star as me. I am the star. Let go the gesture and still feel the after image of the star. We'll make the star once again. Imagine a beam of light coming from the heaven, traveling to your head, your right foot, extending your right foot. The beam of light traveling to your left arm, to your right arm, your left foot, to your head. I am a 5-pointed star. Bright, shining. Let go, and it's now time to take this light in all directions. So we start the 8, the horizontal 8. We are in the center. We have our inner light. We are the star. And we slowly start walking the horizontal 8. From the center to the periphery, to the center, to the periphery, to the center, any direction is fine. To the center, to the periphery, to the center, to the periphery. And every time you come to the center, your inner light is feminine. When you go to the periphery, you're spreading it. And try and increasing the speed. And see how your light spreads. Be mindful of where your hands are. Your hands are just by your side. And if you try walking on your toes, the movement can be swifter. I can flow within boundaries. And slowly bring the movement to a close, coming to the center at your own time. The realization steadfast, I stand on earth. With certainty, I tread the path of life. Love I cherish in the core of my being. Hope I lay in all my deeds. Confidence I impress into my thinking. Steadfast, I stand on earth. Certainty, I tread the path of life. Love I cherish in the core of my being. Hope I lay in all my deeds. Confidence I impress into my thinking. Steadfast, I stand on earth. Certainty, I tread the path of life. Love I cherish in the core of my being. Hope I lay in all my deeds. Confidence I impress into my thinking. I offer reverence to this experience, to this practice, to myself, to my angels, to everyone who's present here. Let go. And in capacity, I'm just going to hold this again in front of you. You can reflect, seeing this and relating it to the experience you went through right now. Even free writing. And whenever you feel ready, you can share if you would like to articulate any experience you felt. Any questions you're holding.
Yes. Thank you so much, Deepa. I think when you said heart center to the periphery and back to the heart center, I related it so much to an inside out, outside in mandala. I could see how you said it is so similar to a mandala when I was reading out your introduction that you had given. I could really connect to the mandala aspect of it. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I liked how in this process, every word is affirmative. Every word makes you believe in something. Like, you are the 5-pointed star. It makes you believe. It lights something up inside you. So that feeling of joy, that feeling of finding the light within yourself was something out of the world for me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I could relate to how you said you saw a bunch of angels dancing on the stage. Like, you saw a bunch of angels moving on the stage.
Yeah.
So when you were demonstrating it to us, it felt like that to me. Like there was an angel.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Really
Yes. That's correct.
Thank you, Deepa. That was my
Thank you.
experience.
Thank you. Beautiful.
We have a few more people sharing their experiences. So I felt deeply present in my body, and my body felt alive and energized from kissing.
Yeah.
I felt a lot of flow within me from the visual to the kinesthetic side of mind, embodying and making it remember with so much of body memory from Prasad.
Yeah.
I felt a kind of flow happening through the body and mind, and very peaceful, calm, silent, and nurturing effect from Aishwarya. Your words, visual, and the action was so much in sync. Brilliant to see how it's working from Prasad again.
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deepa, for taking us through this process. We feel really energized, especially at the end of the day. And thank you so much for doing this for us.
Thank you.
Moving on to the last performance of today. We have with us Aishwarya. Aishwarya is a creative, passionate, and has a childlike tinkle in her voice, which reflects in the essence of her songs. She has a smile as beautiful as her voice and is a learner, seeker, and explorer. I have waited 1 year to listen to you sing, Aishwarya. All yours.
Thanks, Anjali. So I'll be singing a collection of songs which I like. I'll start with Vigneshwara Stuti, it's the Carnatic music, and I'll be using uke. I just started using uke. I'm even learning uke, so just started using. So please, if I have any flaws, please forgive. महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि वसिष्ठवामदेव पिया बोले जानू पिया बोले पिया बोले क्यों ही बोले जानू जिया डोले होले होले क्यों ही डोले जानू दिल की जो बातें है बातें जो दिल की है ही मेरा ना पिया तो ना भूलूं मैं भूलूं ना तो पर आँखों से सब कह दिया पिया बोले जानू जिया डोले होले होले क्यों ये बोले जानू ताना नाना ताना नाना ताना नाना सारी उम्र हम मर मर के जी लिए पर तू अब हमें जीने दो तारा नैना तारा नैना सारी उम्र हम मर मर के जी लिए एक पल तो अब हमें जीने दो give me some sunshine give me some rain give me another chance I want to grow up once again give me some sunshine give me some rain give me another chance I want to grow up once again Thanks.
Thank you so much, Aishwarya. And I'm a huge fan of you playing the ukulele. I wanted to learn it myself, so now I think you can teach me. Thank you so much. So beautiful, Aishwarya. Thanks for touching the chord inside me. From Deepa Mahesh. Lovely. Such a joyous, melodious and uplifting medley from Kizzy. What a wonderful performance, Aishwarya. Full of joy. Your voice is beautiful. From Harsh. Amazing voice. From Vishnu. Thank you, Aishwarya. You brought so much life by your beautiful voice. From Bhagyashree. I melt every time I hear your voice, Aishwarya. From Sudarshan. So pure and touching. Very beautiful, Aishwarya. Thank you. From Ragini. I swayed and swayed, Aishwarya. Lovely medley. The ukulele is fun and you played so well. From Shivpriya. Maja mashup, Aishwarya. it made feel melt like in shacks, your performance is waved along the seaside from Darni. As usual, I enjoyed your performance from Aishwarya. As always, I loved listening to you sing, Aishwarya. The ukulele and your singing just made me sway. Thank you, from Divya. Thank you so much, Aishwarya, for ending the finale online event of Mandala Festival 2021 on such a joyous, celebratory mood. Thank you so much for singing for us. The first day of Mandala Festival 2021, when we decided that it'll be a month-long festival this time. We had various events, interviews, we had performances, we had knowledge sharing, and so much lined up. I was sitting with myself thinking, okay, this is a huge event, and I have the responsibility of hosting it. How would I make justice to it? What does it mean to me? How do I connect with Mandala Festival? And the immediate image I saw on a WhatsApp group was the Flower of Life Mandala. I saw the interconnectedness between different circles to form something that is so expansive, and it keeps expanding and expanding and expanding. This Mandala Festival journey for me, the month-long journey, which doesn't end here, we have another expedition that most of us in the group are going to, has been like the Flower of Life for me, where it started with a single circle and there was more knowledge added to it. There was joy, there was happiness, there was learning, and there's so much more added to it. And there's just so much gratitude in my heart that I got to be a part of this team, got to be a part of this experience, like most of you here. I would like to thank the grace of the divine, which has always been with us and the team to host this festival, and the knowledge that has been shared from various speakers on various occasions in this platform. And the Rainbow Bridge team for working day in and day out with so much joy to make all of this happen. And Prasad and Pavitram for providing the space and planting the seed to Mandala Festival. And all the performers who have lightened up different events at different times for all of us here. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey with me. I look forward to meeting you all year after year on many Mandala festivals that's going to keep expanding. Thank you.
I just wanted to end, before we end, I wanted to thank a lot of people. This Mandala Festival has been so many things, and so many people, so much effort has gone into this to make it run smoothly, to make things happen the way they're happening, the way they happen, wonderfully opening. We are on the 10th, actually 11th event of Mandala Festival, including the offline event that we had this morning, and it's been like a family that's built up over this time. There have been times it's been a joyride, and I want to thank so many people. I want to thank Divya and Sudarshan for joining for so many events that are I don't even believe, like they're up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the night. The recordings happening consistently. Shruti, for making those amazing recordings, editing them, publishing them. Bhagyashri, Shiva, for holding so many background tasks, without which I think it would be impossible to do any of this. Prasad, the website, it's updating. It's like clockwork. Things getting updated because so many events. Anvi, for holding everything so beautifully. It just amazes me how you've held the thread from the beginning till this last event. I want to thank Varun, who's not here today, but all the wonderful, beautiful brochures that we see on the groups. If it were not for him, you'd not see that the beauty of the brochures. Kokila is not here. She's been a part of so many discussions, helping us ideate, formulate. I remember how we began and where we've come, and it feels like an amazing journey of growth as a team. And I thank everybody who's attended the previous sessions and today's session, and all the speakers, Kizzy, Deepaji, and Priyabrat, Aishwarya, Dharni. Thank you very much, and it's really it's been a beautiful journey. This Mandala Festival for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harsh, for the gratitude. If anybody has anything to share, please feel free to voice it out.
I would also like to express my gratitude. I should summed up all, but seriously, like a lot has been going up, like behind and also here. Thank you to Anvi for really holding the space, like beautifully weaving this garland. It has been a month-long event, and from the very first event, everything has been just happening so smoothly, and it's just like one flower getting added. So thank you, Anvita. Thank you, Divya, for being the host and for just keeping us all tied to it and keeping us engaged with your beautifully linking stories and bringing out your own flavors into it. So thank you, Anvita. Thank you, Divya, for being such wonderful hosts for all the events throughout. As Harsh said, thank you, Prasad. Thank you, Pavitram, for the space, for offering us the space to really come together, learn, experience things, at times experiment with things, everything. So thank you for the idea of Mandala Festival and Pavitram, Prasad, and the grace for just letting it all happen with a lot of grace. And from everybody who was involved in it, Harsh, thank you, Harsh, thank you, Shivapriya, thank you, Shruti, Sudarshan, Divya, everyone who's been here, who's been coordinating, and all the performers and presenters who have taken their time out. They've come here and they have really spent effort to make us learn and understand things with so much joy and simplicity. So thank you, Deepa. Thank you, Priyabrat, Kissy, Aishwarya, everyone who performed today, Dharani. And last but not the least, also thank you to all the beautiful audience and the participants for coming here and encouraging us, encouraging all the participants and presenters to bring the best of them, for being there, asking those very curious questions and giving your wonderful comments. Thank you all.
Thank you, Bhagya. I think we can wind up with Kirtan from Veda. I will be playing it for you.
गायति वनमाली मधुरं गायति वनमाली गायति वनमाली मधुरं गायति वनमाली पुष्पसुगन्धि सुमलय समीरे मुनिजन सेवित यमुनातीरे गायति वनमाली मधुरं गायति वनमाली कूजितशुकपिकामुखखगकुञ्जे कुटिलालकबहुनीरदपुञ्जे गायति वनमाली मधुरं गायति वनमाली तुलसीदामविभूषणहारी जलजभवस्तुतः सद्गुणशौरी गायति वनमाली मधुरं गायति वनमाली परमहंसहृदयोत्सवकारी परिपूरितमुरलीरवधारी गायति वनमाली मधुरं गायति वनमाली गायति वनमाली मधुरं गायति वनमाली परतत्त्वलीनमनसे प्रणमद्भवबन्धमोचनायाशु प्रकटितपरतत्त्वाय प्रणतिं कुर्मः सदाशिवेन्द्राय परमशिवेन्द्रकराम्बुजसम्भूताय प्रणम्रवरदाय पदधूतपङ्कजाय प्रणतिं कुर्मः सदाशिवेन्द्राय
Thank you and good night.